Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Welcome to episode 28 of the Fly Route Podcast. I am your host, Anthony, a.k.a. Tony Playboy, a.k.a. Zion's Return, a.k.a. Lonzo's Little Rumors. And I'm joined here by one of my best friends, DeMarcus, a.k.a. Negro Damas. Bringing that one back. You got any AKAs?
No, that's good enough. I've been right again.
Okay. You heard him. He's Negro Damas. He's going to be right again. So I'm going to get you with a good one. NBA trade deadline is tomorrow. We record on Wednesdays. By the time everybody hears this episode on Friday, it will have happened. I want the player that's guaranteed to get traded. Not bought out, so you can't do a Drummond. The player that you guarantee, Negro Damas, is going to get traded.
Player that I guarantee. Ooh, that's a rough one.
Is it?
I think so. I guarantee is strong.
You said Negro Damas was good enough.
I'm going to go out on the ledge. I'm going to take a little risk.
Walk that walk.
JJ Redick gets moved.
Gets traded.
The Lakers get him to shore up their shooting while LeBron continues to heal from his high ankle sprain. It makes them a little bit more willing to take a risk.
Okay. I would have said Depot. Of all people, I would have said Oladipo. But I like it. JJ Redick, that's spicy. All right, let's get into our Fly Route game picks of the week. Saturday, I think, is the day for basketball this weekend. I want, clear Saturday is going down. The first one I see is the Knicks versus the Bucks.
So I think game will be good, competitive, but the Bucks win that game.
All right, I'm not against it. Let's get to something that might be a little harder for you to decide. Mavericks versus the Pelicans.
So everything in my head that knows about basketball is saying pick the Pelicans.
Pick the Pelicans. Okay.
Zion's great. I'm not doing that. I'm picking the Mavs.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to take the Pels, and I'm going to guarantee you no less than 4 Bleacher Report posts from this game. Now that they have no Bron, no LaMelo, it's Zion's return. He's going to be everywhere. All right, last but not least, the 76ers play the replacement Clippers.
Sixers.
Ooh.
The Clippers, besides the fact, even when they're all there, they have not looked right this season. So even a wounded Sixers team, I think, can take them.
Okay. That's huge. I'm with you. We have an exciting show for everybody today. We are going to get into yet another tee-off, unfortunately, about Isiah Wilson, former first-round pick for the Tennessee Titans. We are going to give you the Run Pass Options segment where we like to talk about the biggest headlines in sports news for the week and let you know whether we are going to run with them or pass on them. We are going to give you the Fly Route for NBA award voters, since we would probably never get a vote, for MVP and Rookie of the Year, now that both of these races have become super open. Last but not least, we are going to get into some controversial comments by Draymond Green and talk about the best defenders in NBA history. Also, this week's Baller's Bouquet.
The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod.
Welcome to the tee-off.
Ooh, spill that tea, sis.
This is how we like to start our show. We like to spill some tea on our favorite athletes and some of the crazy situations they get themselves into. Now, I know what everybody wants to hear us talk about right now is Deshaun Watson. I've seen people, the tags have been coming through, the DMs have been coming through. We will not touch it just yet because the way information is coming out on this particular subject is insanely fast.
By the hour.
Yeah, we released an episode and it went from 4 accusers to 22. There was actually court documents being filed. His lawyer says he has proof that at least one of them is lying. I'm going to wait for all of this information to kind of come more out so we can be a little bit more educated without takes that come in this serious situation.
Right. We need information, and that's what we are waiting for to come out. As the court proceedings start, we're going to get more and more information. Bear with us. We want to give you the best possible take on this, not just the lazy take of what's in the news today. We want to be better than that.
So, we will instead talk about Isiah Wilson. For y'all who are frequent listeners of the pod, you have heard us talk about Isiah Wilson before. Former first-round draft pick last draft for the Tennessee Titans, an offensive tackle. He played at Georgia. Extremely great college career, super talented kid. And, of course, he had a range of off-field issues his rookie year that we talked about, such as, like, getting caught at a party at Tennessee State University while their campus was closed and attempting to jump off a balcony to avoid police officers. Remind you, this nigga's like 6'5" and 350 pounds. That is always the most important detail of that story. Of course, he got suspended for violating rules of the team. He crashed his car into a concrete wall during a DUI. His rookie season was filled with a ton of mishappenings. And, you know, 2 or 3 episodes ago, we talked about how he got traded to the Dolphins. And of course, I always say Miami is not the place to go fix your life and go straight. But it's okay because he never really even got to fix his life and go straight in Miami, because just 3 days after this trade, Isiah Wilson was cut from the Dolphins. Now, it was a trade that really lends no value. They basically traded for a 7th round pick swap. The Titans were just trying to wash their hands of this player, give him a fresh start. Hopefully, trip 2 works better than trip 1, but trip 2 actually worked worse than trip 1 because now he is out of the league. Why is he out of the league? Why did he get cut? Weirdly enough, the meat of this story is not why he got cut. Now, he got cut because the team was like, we tried to help him, Miami. They were like, he refused all of our efforts to help him. And basically, he showed up late to his physical. He showed up late to team orientation. He skipped optional workouts that he had committed to going to. So it's not even like he had to go to these workouts. They were optional. And Mans was like, I'm going to be there. I'm real serious about this. And he skipped them. And during those workouts, did you know what he was doing? This nigga was basically hitting a vape on video, standing on top of a car partying.
Oh, that's not what I was going to guess. I was going to guess he was streaming something on Twitch, but that seems really too mild for this guy.
No. He was like hitting his vape. So like already, you know, the NFL sees that video. Let's get you drug tested, my guy. You will fail that drug test. Although actually weed is off now.
Oh, NFL finally let up on that.
They did, but they never reinstated Josh Gordon after doing it. It was the stupid.
Well, just like our government, you know, they want to legalize it, but leave people in jail.
Like, oh my God. But let's not get to the Josh Gordon thing. Like, that nigga's gotten such a raw deal for really doing fucking nothing wrong. But neither here nor there. Gets him cut off the team. And weirdly enough, now this is the funniest thing, the Dolphins traded, right? But before that trade, the Titans were aware of, and many people were aware of, but it had not hit everybody yet, that Isiah Wilson had been arrested again before the trade happened. Yeah. So like they kept that one under wraps and kind of fleeced a little pick swap real quick before everybody found out. So why did he get arrested? Isiah Wilson was arrested after a high-speed car chase with the police that ended in him being arrested at gunpoint. So apparently he is zooming down the highway in his Charger. He might have
couldn't have got a better car?
I'm pretty sure he crashed the first better car into a fucking concrete wall, and his money probably stopped flowing.
I guess
when
that's
the team
true.
canceled all your guarantees for fucking
the new
up.
Corvette's not that expensive. I'd get one of those over a Charger. I don't know. I digress. Keep.
He's in his Dodge Charger, right? Just killing it on the road. He's going about 123 miles per hour when he gets clocked by a police officer. And the police officer, of course, is like, the fuck? Pulls out after him, turns on his lights, is like, pull over. My man's like, nah, we don't do that here. Guns it, gets into a high-speed chase at 140 miles per hour with the police. A second police car shows
they have
up.
Chargers too?
He was like, bitch, my Charger better than yours.
He got the Hellcat? He got the
He's
Scat
like,
Pack?
this ain't that stock shit, nigga. Nah. And he gets into 140 miles per hour, high-speed chase with the police. Multiple cars show up. The police end up saying this chase is becoming too dangerous. By now, we obviously have your license plate number. We gonna get you, nigga. And they decide to abandon the chase, and he ends up crashing the car again. After the police abandon the chase, and he ends up getting arrested by an undercover ICE officer who was in the area. And of course, like, there's a bolo on this nigga, right?
So every law enforcement officer in the city will come out of the woodwork.
Is looking for you, my guy. Yes, indeed. Gets arrested at gunpoint because they're like, yeah, this guy just had a high-speed chase with the police, you know. That one does not get you. Look, the guns come out unless you're white in that situation.
Whoa. That's felony speeding. That's not you get a little ticket.
It's not just felony speeding. It's, let me quote this. Speeding in a construction zone, reckless driving, felony evading or attempting to elude the police, possession of less than an ounce of marijuana, possession of other drug-related paraphernalia, and reckless conduct. Bruh got charges on charges on charges.
I think he just wanted to make it to the league. I don't think he actually wanted to
be in the league.
Yes, that is the conclusion I have now come to.
Yeah, because, like, honestly, bruh, just like, can't you just do this shit in your house?
Quite literally, get a house. Hell, buy a whole street. Drag race on your street. It's private. It's your business.
It's wild. There was also a woman in the car with him who was found having a bit of acid on her.
Probably took a little bit too while they were. That's why probably they were speeding. Probably was more drugs in the car.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm just like, I'm pretty sure this guy has to be out the league.
Oh, guys have been out the league for less, way less.
Look, and guys have gotten back into the league after doing way worse.
Also true, but they wanted to be back in the league. I don't know that this guy does.
Yeah.
He's going to have to prove to teams over a long period of time that he wants back. Think about guys like an Aldon Smith, who was suspended for multiple years, who had to go through and the NFL's process for once you get suspended indefinitely is like, we will make you jump through every loop we possibly want you to. We might still say no. And so he's going to have to go through that. He's going to have to be on his best behavior for like a year. He's going to have to be on somebody's practice squad or something and demonstrate he can show up to work before they give him any money.
That don't look likely. He's going to have a lot of growing up to do.
Well, it don't look likely, not because of growing up. He's going to end up in jail before he ever does that.
Fair. That is a very fair point. Honestly, I don't see how he stays out of jail this time. Like, he's probably... I don't know if they breathalyzed him or, like, did a sobriety test. You know what I'm talking about?
I know his lawyer's taking the rest of his money.
Oh, the
lawyers got the rest of the money.
Nashville voided all of his guarantees. So they have to pay him no more money, and the Dolphins cut him with zero dead cap. And, the checks have stopped.
Like I said, the lawyer has the rest of his money already. What, he got, like 5 cases?
Oh, a couple of them he got let go with a warning, right? He got at least 3. The DUI where he crashed into the wall, mm-hmm. He's gonna still have to deal with, and I want to say,
was the underage drinking just a warning?
He wasn't underage. He was with underage people, and they let him. Yeah, the Tennessee State one. A bunch of other people got charges at the party, and they just let him go. It was kind of you play for the Titans player? Which only gets you so far when you don't play for the Titans no more.
Yeah, it's at least a few, but this man, like I said, this man needs some help. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if it's just an attitude thing. I don't know if he got something going on. It ain't good, though.
You were really wishing for his second chance comeback, too.
Listen, I think everybody deserves a second chance. After that, that's on you. You get 2 chances. You get to mess up once, and if we like you, if we think you're talented, you get a second chance.
I don't think anybody doubts his talent. That's the problem.
After that, after you mess up two chances, you gotta prove to us you worth giving a third chance to. I don't see it happening.
All right, I'm with you. And that was your tee off.
Ooh, spill that tea, sis. Spill that tea, sis.
Y'all is Tony Playboy. Y'all is Tony Playboy.
All right, let's get into the RPO, Run Pass Options segment. This is where we like to give you the largest headlines of the week in sports news and let you know whether we are going to run with them or pass on them. All right, DeMarcus, take us away.
So we're going to go to Brooklyn. James Harden has a new person to pass the ball to in the form of Blake Griffin. We've seen a couple games now. Got his feet wet in a Brooklyn uniform, which looks real weird. What are your thoughts so far? Run or pass?
I'm going to run. I'm a fan of what I've seen so far. It's only been 2 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's only been 2 games, so there's not a lot to see. But he has played like 15 and 20 minutes respectively in those games. And with Kyrie being MIA again for personal reasons.
His birthday?
Nigga, I want my birthday off too.
I mean, it could still... digressing, but it could be something else, but it's also his birthday, or it was yesterday.
I want my birthday off too, nigga. So I ain't hating. Nah, fuck that shit. I'm hating because I don't have that much leverage. Just be like, nah, nigga, I don't work my birthday.
Well, with the new setup of this team, kind of follow-up question, how do you see they have maybe a month, less than a month when KD gets back to make these players all gel together? Do they all work?
Everybody else has gelled for a while together. Sans KD, and KD's just a guy that fits seamlessly into any offense. He's so efficient. He shot the least out of the 3, and he's just so efficient. He's gonna work within the flow of the offense, get his shots. He's not gonna take a ton of them. I don't have that worry, to be honest. Blake coalescing in, I have liked. Even though people thought Blake's passing was going to be great, and I think from the games I've watched, because I've watched both Brooklyn games, he is passing a lot, and I think he's passing too much. I especially for like the construction of their team right now, especially missing the third player, and he has 0 assists, but he's moving the ball a lot. There's a lot of good ball movement happening around. He's finding the open guy, making the right play. We saw him dunk finally. That was big. First game back. Look, and first game back, he put it down. He had to shut some people up. He didn't want to hear it no more. We bullied him back into dunking the ball. Basically, that's what happened. He was just like, I knew it was going to be a thing, so I just let me get this out the way real quick. But he's doing all right. Here's what I'm saying. He doesn't look like a difference maker. And I don't think that for the minutes he's playing, he's currently providing Brooklyn what they'll need to make a championship run. But it's just so early in the process. He's only played 2 games.
Okay. Let's go to another borough of New York. Let's talk about Julius Randle and his ascension with Thibodeau and how their relationship has worked out. He had a monster game. Was it Monday night?
37 points?
37 points.
Yeah.
Right. Just killing it.
Did he have 7 threes or something stupid?
Mm-hmm. He went off.
Yeah.
He went off. Run or pass?
Look, run if he is not your most improved player. You just don't watch basketball. Period. Now, I think this is great. I think the Knicks resurgence is great. It's good to have good Knicks basketball going on. But look, I'm concerned about his minutes. I am concerned about Thibbs tipping this up again. It's his constant complaint is that he runs players down and players get hurt under him. Julius Randle leads the league in total minutes played. The second person is Jokic, and he's 100 minutes behind him. Everybody was talking about LeBron never missing a game, blah, blah, blah. It's not about, it's
it's minutes during the game.
Damn, that Rona vaccine, huh? Let me stop. Jokic is behind him. He's almost 100 minutes behind him. So he is playing a ton of minutes. More than anybody else in the NBA. He is second in minutes per game. Only person more than him is Harden. And he's playing 37 minutes per game that he is in, which is basically the entire game. The game is 45 minutes long?
48.
48 minutes long?
He's getting a rest probably between quarters.
He rests at halftime, nigga.
And halftime. Yeah, seriously. Well, we know James is in the physical condition now, for sure, to do all that. And plus, there's no Kyrie and no KD, so he don't really have a choice.
It's weird because his usage rate is at 30th in the league while playing all of these minutes. So it's not like he is always touching the ball in all these minutes he's playing. In fact, it seems like it's inefficient the amount of minutes Thibbs is playing him. And I'm just never want to wish injury on anybody, of course. I remember all too well Derrick Rose doing unbelievably fantastic shit and Thibbs playing him and him getting hurt at a basically irrelevant time in the game. Like that game he went off and they were up like 15-20. The dude was playing with like 6 minutes left in the game.
Shouldn't have been in. Garbage
time. Bruh's playing through garbage time. Look, I'm loving Julius Randle. I'm loving the fact that the Knicks are trying to do something to like bolster this team in the trade deadline. I am just scared of Thibbs doing his thing once again.
You gonna tip it up? All right. Going from New York, we're gonna go down the road to Baltimore, where we've heard lots of criticisms about the Ravens not being able to get great targets for their quarterback. They've now signed Sammy Watkins.
Have they?
Or rumored to be talking to Sammy.
Look, let me run real quick because there's been a lot of fucking rumors about people interested in signing with the Ravens. They were like, we're going to get Marvin Jones, and that wasn't going to happen. Then we're going to get Kenny Galladay. He went to the Giants. Then they were like, Juju, we got Juju. And then Juju went back to Pittsburgh for cheap. And now they're talking about Sammy Watkins, who met with them and then immediately went to go meet with another team, right? He went to go meet with, I think it's the Colts. And I'm like, there's a narrative here now, and people love the narratives, especially with Lamar Jackson, is that now wide receivers don't want to play in Baltimore because they don't think they can trust Lamar throwing the ball, and they don't want to be in that run-heavy offense and not get their targets, which the latter seems way more reasonable than the former to me, I'll be honest. But there's also that extra stuff like Dez recently tweeting, like, y'all don't know what he has to go through. I was in that building, which now makes me think, well, what is he going through? Because, like, from what everybody else was saying, everything seems to be peachy fucking nice over there in Baltimore because they got Greg Roman. He wants to work with Lamar's strengths. Harbaugh believes in him, right? Like, they have Mark Andrews. Like, I'm interested to know, like, what's going on that Dez knows about that we don't know about, and maybe is that part of the internal things that are kind of fueling this situation? Because, look, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, Sammy Watkins is not the answer in Baltimore. He is past his prime and has not been able to stay healthy consistently at all the last 2 seasons, even when he wasn't being heavily used on the Chiefs.
No, he was in the perfect situation and couldn't stay healthy at all. Like, if you were a wide receiver, no matter what point of your career you're in, you want to play on that team with Tyreek across from you and Kelsey.
Maybe, depending on if you want to be a wide receiver
well,
or
if you want to be at one, then no, you don't. But for 80% of the guys in the league, they want to be the number 2 on that team.
Yeah, yes, I agree. The guy that never gets doubled because they literally cannot.
Like, I'll put up 1,000 yards and 10 TDs.
It's like, what, y'all put a linebacker on me? What? Okay,
right.
I'm with you. So, look, it's just, this is weird. I don't, there's really nobody else on the market that I see making a big difference for this team right now. Maybe it'll be a trade. Who knows? But clearly their passing attack needs some work.
It sure does.
All right, so let me switch this back on you. I want to stay in the NFL and I want to go to Green Bay. All right? Now, in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers recently, people are saying he refused to restructure his contract because he wanted assurances that he was not a lame duck quarterback in Green Bay. Do you see this as a start of a larger growing issue in Green Bay? Run or pass?
I'm going to run. And yes, it is the start of a bigger issue. It's ironic, actually, because Aaron was once in this exact same position. Aaron got drafted into the first round to be the heir apparent to Brett Favre, who was a 3-time MVP, Super Bowl champion, and up there in his 30s. It's really ironic how similar these are. It took Aaron 3 years to take the starting quarterback job from Favre, along with the team being upset about being essentially held hostage by Favre, who was like, I'm going to retire. Actually, I'm not, or I'll let you know right before training camp starts. And no team wants to have that kind of uncertainty. They want to have long-term stability. So yeah, it is a problem, because if Rodgers is watching Jordan Love in the building every day, I mean, we've heard bad things about him, but if Aaron is watching him in the building every day and noticing the kid get better, he's saying, I'm going to be 37 soon. You know, it's going to be the third year of this kid. He's going to have to have a contract. Are they going to just get rid of me early and go with him, etc.? So yeah, it is certainly the start of something I think a multi-year drama we'll be watching with Aaron Rodgers and the organization. And listen, I have not seen Love play in the NFL at all. There was no preseason. So I can't say if the kid's good, bad, whatever. But I know Aaron don't like him.
Oh, okay. I don't think Aaron doesn't like him. I think Aaron has a lot of sympathy for him because of his situation with Favre.
But he is upset because that didn't help the team last year and it won't help them next year.
I agree he's upset. I think he has sympathy for him, but that don't change the fact that he's here to win games. And he wants another ring, and it's counterproductive to him getting that ring.
Mm-hmm. Plus, it's a threat to him himself.
Look, I'm with you. I'm with you. Let's stay and go back to like the Juju conversation, because we had that briefly, but I want to talk about this deal because Juju recently just re-upped with the Steelers for 1 year, $8 million, which, look, it's fairly cheap. You already said that, but for reference, T.Y. Hilton just signed a 1 year, $10 million deal with the Colts. So I'm like, is something going on? Does the rest of the league not see Juju the way Juju and I guess his camp was hyping up his free agency? Does this deal say that for you? Run or pass? Absolutely.
I'm going to run. I'm going to run so hard on this. Juju is not a number one. This deal solidifies that for a lot of reasons. First, it's 1 year, $8 million. So the Steelers think he's not a number one, and that's what they want to pay him every year. He don't want that. He wants more than that. So he takes his 1 year deal. It's possibly Big Ben's last season. So you say, hey, maybe we go all in. Maybe we do well. We win it. I don't think they are. And you go for it.
Run game.
You go for it. But 1 year, $8 million. Let me talk about guys who make more money. We're not even going to talk about the top tier guys who make over $20 million a year. The Amari Coopers, the Julio Jones, etc. Talk about guys who just make more than he's going to make next season, which is 29 guys. You started it. It's T.Y. Hilton. It's Tyler Lockett. It is Will Fuller. It is...
Will Fuller.
Well, I mean, yes, but I'm saying just like some of these other names... Curtis Samuel, Tyler Boyd.
Boyd?
Yes.
Yo, that's a good one. Tyler
They
fucking
will
Boyd.
all make more than Juju next season. And those guys are... You think Tyler Boyd's a good number two even? That pause tells me everything.
It's a bad team.
Yes.
Maybe he could be better in a better situation.
But what we say... But there are people who are on bad teams who ball out. And you're like, ooh, let's get them out of there. Let's free that guy so he can actually go ball on a good team.
I'm with you.
If he were the guy that he thinks he is, they pay him at least $12 a year. I mean, and yeah, I think they cut somebody to be able to get this $8 million under the cap, etc. But that means you weren't getting a lot, at least from this. Either you love the Steelers or you weren't getting a ton of better offers.
His camp says they had better offers, but he just wanted to be a Steeler. He wanted to be a Steeler forever in his heart.
A 1 year deal where you could get hurt this year and then not have a contract next season?
I am a man of messages that I bring to the people.
No, I mean, he's not what he thinks he is. He's not a number one. He's a number two, a good number two, and that's it.
All right, last but not least is some little COVID news. The Miami Heat is now having a vaccinated-only section in their games. From now on, they're the first NBA team to do so. Do you think this is going to be a larger trend that more NBA teams pick up? And maybe even other sports leagues? Run or pass?
I'll run. I don't know if it's going to be a major trend. I think we got, about a month, 6 weeks of the season left. So I don't know if it's going to be a major trend, but I want it to be going forward. As vaccinated people, you know. Go get your vaccine. As vaccinated people and kind of thinking about the way this goes, part of the reason I can tell you that motivated me to get the vaccine as soon as possible is the idea that when these kind of opportunities came available, I'd be able to start getting back to some semblance of normal, even if it was a little bit weird still. It's still weird going out and talking to people and being in crowds. It feels almost guilty, but I think this is good. I would like to see more of this. I think this can, for some people who are hesitant about getting the vaccine and they're not sure if they want it or want it right now, it could push them over, which is ultimately a good thing. The faster people get vaccinated, the faster we get out of this. And if this is one way to coerce people into getting the vaccine, this is a good form of coercion.
All right, we're in Dallas. If the Mavs did this, would you go to a Mavs game?
Yes.
Okay. All right, facts.
I'd buy a Luka jersey. I'd be down there in the front row. You'd see me on NBA TV, whatever. Yes.
All right.
What's up, Playboy?
Yo, let's get into end of the season awards real quick. This week's Fly Route, I want us to take the position of some NBA voters because things have kind of changed. LeBron James gets a high ankle sprain. Now he is out for at least a month.
Mm-hmm.
Joel Embiid has that injury that we talked about last week. Now he's out for an extended period of time. That's kind of opened up the MVP race because honestly, those are the top two people were talking about. Now they're going to miss significant time. And what happens in this month? It's like there's not much left in the season.
Yeah, we have a good idea about what teams are good, what teams are not good. We don't really have narratives because typically when the NBA media picks a guy or a couple guys, they build the story for the MVP all year long.
We have the narratives.
And now, because the front runners are out, there's no narrative left, for at least a dominant narrative left for any of the contenders for this award.
All right.
So with that being said, I think and I said this a couple weeks ago in the pod, it's Nikola Jokic for me for lots of reasons. So I think the first is team success, which is what these guys all look at. Jokic's team is 27 or 26 and 17. They are 5th in the Western Conference. They're doing great. They're expected to be a tough out in the playoffs, not a team that anyone looking to go far wants to see early. They were a tough out last year. But not just that his team is good, he has had dramatic improvement in his counting stats, his points, rebounds, assists this season. I think his points are up from 19 last year to 27 this year. He's averaging 11 assists a game and 8 rebounds, which is freaking phenomenal. When it looks at those numbers, which is almost a triple-double, he has 9 triple-doubles this season, I believe.
Are you shocked that a nigga that tall is missing the triple-double rate by rebounds?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yo, that shit bothers me. Nigga, you is too tall to be missing the season triple-double by rebounds.
If Russ can get 10 a game for the season, I think Jokic should be able to. But even that being said, on triple-doubles, he's only the second big man after Wilt Chamberlain to have 50-plus triple-doubles. Wilt has 78. I think Nikola has now like 51 or 52. So these are just historic numbers. He's missed the triple-double this season 6 times by either 1 rebound or 1 assist. Like, these are historic kind of numbers for this guy. The narrative is starting to be there a little bit. Kind of it's an unsuspecting NBA player. You know, we've all seen I don't know if everyone's seen this, but the picture of him as a kid, the fat little chubby kid. And hey, I was that kid. So, hey, do your thing. It obviously worked out for him. But you wouldn't think, even if you saw this guy now, you'd be like, he's an NBA player. Like, he's tall, but he doesn't look.
No, he's too tall.
He's too tall, but the height is the only thing.
He's tall enough that you're like, wait, you're not in the NBA? The
yes,
fuck do
it
you
would
do,
be that.
nigga?
It would be that. But let's say I saw Giannis, and even if I watched the NBA, I'm like, oh, that dude's in the NBA.
Yeah.
If I saw LeBron, I'm like, oh, that dude's in some sports league. I don't know if it's the NBA, but he played for somebody. And then the last thing for me is just kind of narrative. That's the narrative, but also the kind of the odds on it. And right now, Jokic is the highest ranked player in the Vegas odds that's left playing significant portion of the game. Usually the MVP plays 80+% of the games. Right now, Jokic is at plus 110 to win the MVP, which is pretty damn good. LeBron's at plus 450. Dame's at plus 1,200. Embiid's still at plus 600, etc. So not only is the narrative there, the numbers are there, the team success, but Vegas also has him as the odds-on favorite to win the MVP. For me, it's a very strong case for Jokic.
The Vegas odds are deceptive in that way because those odds are how they feel like they can make the most money off of people. So this is where I want to tell you, I think the fly route for this is Dame Lillard. And you talk about narrative, and that's why I think it's going to be Dame, right? The narrative is going to be Dame because Dame has kind of been that player that everybody's like is the truth, but has never really gotten that accolade.
Well, yeah, small school guy, went to Weber, not real well known, plays up in Portland, even now not on a lot of national games.
But I think it's going to start to matter now creeping through the end of the season. Their schedule is pretty easy. They're the 6th seed. And I think they can go on a run now, especially because they finally got CJ back. Think about it. They've been playing without CJ and Nurk. They've been playing without 2 starters all season long. And Dame Lillard has been carrying this team on his back. He's probably on his way to his first NBA scoring title this season. It's going to matter because, look, here's the way that I would explain it. Jokic has always had his second, Jamal Murray, all season long, right? Dame has carried the load without the other people around him, kept his team afloat, and can now go on a run after finally having CJ back. That's the thing. Most valuable player is like, when other people went down, how did you perform? Right? Could you carry your team? Are you the engine that can do it on its own? And look, if we're just going to count the raw stats, it's hard to beat Jokic. I agree. But if we're going to count the narrative of depleted team for the second year in a row, puts them on your back, wins a bunch of games, and I think this last set of games without Embiid and Bron will be actually what shapes the MVP, not what has happened before that. So Dame can go on a tear right now and just immediately reshift all of the narrative because we're no longer watching the guys at the top of the thing do amazing things every night. But watching Dame is spectacular, and I think that's what counts. Jokic is great, very sound and fundamental, but Dame is shooting logo threes. It's Dame time. That is narrative. That is narrative. Jokic doesn't have a narrative. He has a very good team that does really well every single year in the playoffs. And we're like, wow, didn't see that coming. And they're like, well, okay. But last year, we're like, no, didn't see that coming at all. But Dame has narrative. He has Dame time.
So I do think Dame is very compelling, very entertaining. I think he will shoot up and get a lot of MVP votes. But I think that it may be too late for him to get enough of the writers who vote on this thing for NBA media to change their mind. I think they're probably, I'm going to vote for LeBron, but he's not playing enough. I'm going to vote for Embiid, not playing enough. Jokic is their next guy, and Dame is after that for a lot of writers. I just think that, yes, he could go on a tear, but will that tear make an impact in the minds of the NBA media before they vote? 'Cause they vote at the very end of the season. I want to say right after the last game is done, before the playoffs start. And so it's a question of, does that have enough impact on them? And I would say, hey, yeah, Jokic is the engine for his team too. Are they normally good? Yes, but he has become a bigger part of what makes the Nuggets go.
Oh yeah, Jokic increased his play in the bubble and it never went back down. A lot of people bought in the bubble and their play went back down.
Part of the narrative is he was in shape for the first time and stayed in shape.
That'll help. That'll help.
I mean, that was the narrative coming out of the bubble. I don't know if I believe it, but I'm interested to see. The sad part for me, and I think for us, is we won't know this answer until June.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Let me ask you this, right? So the Nuggets are in the 5th seed. The Blazers are in the 6th seed. If that flips, do you think that changes a lot of people's mind? Because the Lakers are in the 4th seed, and we all expect them to come down significantly, which, let's just say everything else stays the same, that pops them back to 4 or 5. And if Dame gets the 4th seed or the 3rd seed, because we expect the Lakers to come down. Would that change a lot of things?
If Dame could get the 3rd seed, I think that changes a lot. I think that changed. I just don't know how.
They're like 4 games less.
Yes,
they're like
we got
4 games.
We got the Suns. We got the Nuggets. There's some good teams out in the West still.
Suns, Nuggets, Clippers, and the Lakers, who we expect to fall, are the 3
Lakers
people ahead of them.
At best go like 4-12 because they looked real bad the other night.
Look, so I'm just saying, at that point, that puts them at the 5th seed. He only has to surpass the Nuggets, and who's the 3rd? Is the 3rd the Clippers or
I think so.
Okay, so like I'm just saying, it's kind of not unlikely.
If he gets to 3rd, I think that changes a lot of minds. And if at that point, if he gets to 3rd, I think it's a coin toss between Dame and Jokic.
All right, let's move on to Rookie of the Year a little bit, because this is another situation that's been highly impacted by injury. LaMelo Ball fractures his wrist, is reportedly most likely out for the rest of the season, but there's a chance he can come back. Rookie of the Year race kind of opening up now. Who do you have getting it?
I think it's still LaMelo, honestly, in my opinion. I think first off, I want to say that he proved a lot of his doubters wrong. People
100%.
said, he's had cherry-picked situations. He's not played against the top-end talent.
Too swaggy, braggadocious.
Whatever.
Not locked in.
Don't play defense, etc. And he has
poor shot selection.
Yes, all of that. And he's proven them wrong this season. He has performed phenomenally. I don't know what exactly did it, but his game has been much. Maybe this was always there, but at least from what I'm seeing, it looks much improved. The wrist fracture is going to be a part of the narrative, the story for him. He's having a great season, pretty on par with the number 1 pick in the draft, Mr. Edwards up in Minnesota, and then hurts his wrist. And maybe you feel bad for him. You think he was so close. He would have won it if he finished playing those games. So you still vote for him anyways. There's all the great stories coming out about Melo and MJ, and everyone loves all those people, all the feels. He's like, yeah, I call MJ Unk. I'm just like, no. It's a great story. Like, you want to hear it. You're like, because for a lot of players who've been in Charlotte or been on whatever team MJ's had an ownership share in, have not felt that kind of love from him. He's been real hands-off owner, like an owner is normally.
I mean, no, he be on the sidelines. He slapped that nigga on the back of his head that one time. Who was that?
But I wouldn't say it's very consistent. There's not like a true relationship there. And I feel like, at least from all the stories I hear, there's some sort of budding relationship between Melo.
He feels like Melo is it.
Yes. He is finally the guy for his franchise. He's going to make Michael Jordan look like a good GM too. Look, he may be
this
the GOAT
year
in a lot
has
of people's
looked
eyes.
like great GMing in.
Well, he's had a decade of bad GMing, so he needs some good ones.
I said this year, like the Gordon Hayward signing looks great. Like moving off of Kemba for homeboy from the Celtics, Terry Rozier's looking a lot better than people thought the first time around. Like obviously the LaMelo pick, Bridges is looking much better. Like it's looking like it's coming together after a lot of rough years. Look, Rookie of the Years have won this award playing less games than LaMelo has before. Mm-hmm. That is the first and foremost.
Some who even aren't rookies who won it.
Okay.
I had to say it.
Look, get your shit off, DeMarcus. Get your shit off. That's why we're here. But I think the Ant-Man's going to end up getting it kind of by default just because, like, he is going on a tear. They lost Cat and D'Lo for a while. He ended up averaging like 24 a game. He's putting up the raw numbers.
Well, his numbers are a pretty even as far as points with Melo right now. I think they're both around 16 points a game for the season.
Sure. But he's going to play more game. Like, he has a whole another month.
He can increase that, yes.
Yeah, to, like, not just increase that, just, like, stay in people's mind. That's the thing. Stay in people's mind. I would love it if Melo still won, though. So I'm not going to push back on a lot of that. Like, personally, I would like for Melo to win Rookie of the Year. I think he's already earned it.
Mm-hmm.
The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod.
All right, let's talk about one of your favorite players, Draymond Green. He recently made some incendiary comments that a lot of people had to talk about recently, where he said, "I am the best defender of all time." look, he got into it with Tony Allen, who was like, "Bruh, you're not even better than me. Who stamped you?"
This was pretty good.
Yeah,
this was pretty good.
He said, "Who stamped you?" And he was like, "Bruh, I thought you did when we used you to beat your own team on my way to my first trip." Like they went at it.
That was good until Allen came back at him. You have that tweet? I don't have the exact wording, but that he ended Draymond.
He ended Draymond?
He ended Draymond. That was the end.
He ended Draymond?
I don't remember exactly what he said, but I remember I was like, "Oh shit, that Draymond has no comeback for that." He was like, "Oh, right now they're out there 4-on-5. What with you out there without Clay and Steph?"
Oh, hashtag call Clay. Yes.
Yes.
Hashtag call Clay. That shit was hot.
And okay, I'm like, okay, sure, but we're gonna talk about our top 5 defenders, and a lot of the guys that we're gonna talk about don't play offense. Some of the guys are not at all concerned about playing offense. Some of them can't play. Hell, I would argue Tony Allen can't play offense.
Oh no, he couldn't.
But so him saying that is a little bit like, sure, dog, but you can't shoot neither. Like,
yeah, but like
calling the kettle black.
Call Clay just hit different.
It just hit real. Because first off, they do need to call Clay. Clay's in the gym hooping. Look, Clay standing in the corner on offense is better than a lot of players.
I agree.
So we're gonna get into this, but I want to preface my list with something that I think is very reasonable.
Okay.
And no one is on my list that I have not seen play in my lifetime or watched game film of. And so that kind of limits me to most people 1990 post. We know a lot of the 80s games, or maybe some people don't know, a lot of games from the 80s, especially before Magic got into the league, were not live, and they don't always have all the stats, etc. And they're hard to find, especially games before 1970. Like, you talking about trying to find a Bill Russell game? Impossible.
Yo, I had to give Bill Russell love because for all Bill Russell's accolades, we keep pretending like this nigga did not exist.
He didn't win 11 rings and 2 as a coach, and
Wilt.
He locked down Wilt.
Look, he's great. He has the highest defensive win share in NBA history.
But I can't say I've seen 2 minutes of tape on this man.
Look, eventually we're going to have to give Bill Russell some love.
I want to give him love.
Of the shit he's done.
I just can't do it personally. I can't say like, oh, I've seen him do X, Y, and Z. I've heard stories. The legend is large. He deserves love and respect and to be a 2-time Hall of Famer, basically. But I can't personally be like, yeah, he's the greatest. I've never seen him play defense.
Okay, but then I put him at my one spot just because at some point he needs to get that respect. I want to know who you put in your one spot instead.
Dennis Rodman.
Ooh.
And I think there is a strong argument for why. Number one, it's the length of his reign. He has 2 rings in the late 80s with Detroit, back to back. Leaves Detroit, has a little bit of some people would say meltdown or breakdown, but he would say becoming himself.
I don't think it was a meltdown or a breakdown, bro.
I don't. Some people, I don't either. Some people would say that. I think he's just becoming himself and comfortable with being who he was, and doing wild things, Carmen Electra, and all this shit.
Look, it seemed to be very effective in Chicago when they let Dennis be Dennis.
Dennis became Dennis again in Chicago and had another 8-year run where he was one of the 3 best defenders in the NBA at a time where there was tons of great defenders in the NBA for a decade plus, and ended up with 8 rings for it, and was a key 2 in Detroit, 6 in Chicago.
Was he there for the first 3-peat?
I believe so. I believe he comes to the first 3-peat along with like Horace Grant, etc., and that helps him get over the top. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, you want to look it up real quick?
Yeah, let's look it up.
All
he got a lot of rings, I know that. And he was a key defensive player on all those teams. It's either 5 or like 8. 5, 6, or 8.
I thought it was 5 because I don't think he was there for the
first 3-peat.
Yeah, he has 5 rings.
Okay, so 5.
Yes, yeah.
I'm wrong.
Yeah.
He's got, but still.
Yes,
5 rings.
5 is a lot. Yes,
defensive player on all those teams. He's got some Defensive Player of the Year awards. We know he can play offense if needed. Great rebounder. The defensive possession's not over until you get the rebound. And Dennis was one of the most ferocious rebounders of all time.
Indeed. All right. So my number 2, I put Dikembe Mutombo. My one was Russell.
Oh, okay, I just want to make that clear.
My
I didn't
one
know if
was
that
Russell.
clear.
I feel like he has to eventually get the respect he deserves, right? But also because he has the highest defensive win share in all of NBA history. My two is Dikembe Mutombo. I think he is an underrated defender for the way people put together these lists. Think about it. He was a 4-time defensive player of the year. I don't know anybody else that's won that award that many times, right? He was 6-time all defensive team. Like, of course, we all remember him like the finger wave,
yep.
second in blocks all time. If you're a Chicago lover like me, you might remember the time Jordan dunked on his shit, had to give him the wave back, but still, look, dude was a ferocious monster. Grab the boards, block the shots. You don't win DPOY 4 times for nothing.
You're absolutely correct. I elevated someone a little bit different. Maybe you would also agree with this person being high on the list. I got Tim Duncan, who we call the guy the big fundamental, and that wasn't just on offense. The guy was the heart and soul of the Spurs for 15 years.
He's in my top 5.
15 years plus. He didn't maybe win Defensive Player of the Year, but that's because he was winning MVPs.
Look, he's in my top 5. He was 15 times all defense.
Mm-hmm.
He played 19 seasons.
All but the very beginning when he was still playing with David Robinson, and the very end when he was old, he did not win.
Yes, all but 4. He was an all defensive player in the NBA. So like, it's clear that he was a high level defender for basically 90+% of his career.
And constantly playing deep playoff runs on teams that were in the mix for championships for over a decade. Mm-hmm. And end up with also, 3 rings? 5 rings? I can't remember. A lot of rings.
5.
He
should have 5.
But
if not, he should have 5. The Spurs dynasty was...
They never repeated, but they would
every other year for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right. So I think it is 5. I think they had 3 in the early 2000s and those 2 later.
B. Brown twice.
Mm-hmm. 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 So that's who I have as number 2 is Tim Duncan.
Okay.
And I think what you just said, for example, is part of the reason why he has to be high on this list.
He's in my top 5. I'm with you.
Who's your number 3?
All right. My number 3 is Rodman, right? You already went into all the vibes about him, 8-time all-defensive player, 2-time defensive player of the year. He is my 3. I just feel like even if we're just looking at the impact they had on the game, Mutombo just feels different to me, which is why I can't have him in that spot. Who did you have at 3?
Scotty Pippin.
Ooh.
Who is maybe the best perimeter defender in NBA history.
Okay.
I think Scotty is very underrated for his defense. He was the guy on the Bulls teams along with Dennis who was doing the dirty work.
Look, I love Scotty Pippin. Scotty Pippin was a great defender, but he also played with MJ in those early years where they were winning the chips, and he played with MJ and Dennis on those later years where they were winning the chips.
Yeah, and Dennis guarded the big men, but Pippen had whoever the guard was. Think of go back and watch the 91 finals and watch Pippen guard Magic full court, press defense all the way up and shut Magic down. Now this is older Magic, but this was before he retired the first time. So still a good player, still good enough to be in the NBA finals and lead a team there, and still has pieces around him, and Pippen is locking him down. And Pippen is, and this is maybe more of his is just pure athleticism. He was so athletic and long that it helped him be a good defender on the perimeter, but I think he's got to be high on a lot of people's list. And maybe people don't give him enough respect.
He's top defense. 10 for me, just not top 5.
Okay.
Just not top 5. So that was who you had at 3?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for 4, I have Kevin Garnett. A man whose name needs no explanation. I'm not even it's KG.
He's my number 5. He's top 5.
It's KG. It's bruh is verified. If KG came out and said I am the best defender of all time in the NBA, people would scruff. But
you got a strong argument.
No one would come at him the way people came at Draymond.
Also, people respect him too much to come at him like that.
Like Shannon said, bro, Draymond, you not top 20. I was like, damn.
Listen, I watched some other folks talk about this, and they named it, and they've been older than me, so they watched more people play. And there are legitimately 20 guys in history better than Draymond. Legitimately. Like, I love Draymond. We didn't talk about this too much, but I love Draymond.
Oh, Draymond is
He's
an
a
extremely great
defender.
defender, super versatile defender.
But he is not top 20 all time.
Okay. I'm with you. I am with you.
So I have KG at my 5, but my 4, I have somebody a little bit different. Maybe a little quieter than most people would expect. I got Ben Wallace, who was forgotten on those Detroit teams in the early 2000s.
Yeah, that Detroit
03,
team
04.
won a chip.
I think he won back-to-back Defensive Players of the Year awards. Just phenomenal. Just a driving defensive force on that team. And I mean, the years they were in the finals are the years everyone remembers, but they were in the conference championship game for like 5 straight years.
Oh yeah, they fucked up the East.
Oh yeah, and it was all with defense, and he was the key guy on that team running the defense.
Okay, I like that. My 5 is Tim Duncan, as we mentioned before. We're probably gonna give people the rest of our top 10 lists. You can catch it on our IG at the Fly Route Pod. You can see a little bit more of our contested areas with some more modern-ish players. But all right, no, I'm not too mad about that. I mean, Draymond is, but I'm not.
No, I love Draymond. He deserves a lot of love, but he wild for this one.
It's a Playboy affair.
Welcome to the final segment of our show, the heart of our show, Ballers Bouquets. Too often in the media, people only want to focus on the negative and salacious things athletes do and never want to give them their credit where credit is due. Here, we like to make a change.
And this week's Ballers Bouquet goes to Justin Herron. So many of you who watch the NFL and listen to this podcast are probably thinking, who the hell is Justin Herron? Well, let me tell you who this guy is. He is a 2020 6th-round draft pick out of Wake Forest who plays for the Patriots. He's one of their reserve tackles. He started 6 games last season, was a part of 12 games or had snaps in 12 games. Solid player. Very promising for the Patriots.
Go Deeks.
Yes. Short story, around 11 a.m., this guy is working out in Tempe, Arizona. He's walking through a park, and he hears a woman scream. He says, quote, "You see it in TV and movies all the time, but you never think it's going to happen in real life until it does. In that moment, I was in shock." He goes on to say, it was 11 in the middle of the afternoon, in the middle of the day, not one cloud in the sky, and in a very open field. The fact it happened there at that time was very shocking in the moment. I wish I could tell you what I was thinking. I just knew that someone just needed help. All I could do was just rush myself over there and make sure I could help the victim and make sure I could comfort her and be the best person I can be. So this is Justin describing his interaction in this park. The reason why we're talking about him, why he's receiving this Ballers Bouquet. He was able to stop the sexual assault of a 71-year-old retired woman in this Tempe, Arizona park, along with one other Good Samaritan. And we have these quotes because today he received a commendation from the Tempe, Arizona Police Department in the form of a Good Samaritan Award, along with the other Good Samaritan who helped out in the rescue. So, Herron is 6'5", 300 pounds. Just said he plays tackle for the Patriots, so real athletic, big guy. And he runs over there. He says, he yells at the guy. He's like, "I'm real loud. I'm a big guy." So the guy stops. I guess he yanks the guy off the woman and then somehow restrains the guy along with the other Good Samaritan until the police get there.
I bet that nigga could put him in a headlock he'd never get out of.
He's like, "Yeah, I think my size helped a little bit there." I'm like, you think a 6'5", 300-pound black man sprinting across the park telling you to stop? You probably gonna be like, "What the hell is going on?" But that is
Mr. Crab memes on niggas.
yes. But a lot of cases like this, people don't help. They assume someone else will. And Justin, along with this other Good Samaritan, who, if you want to go watch it, the interview or the press conference with the police was literally today, earlier this afternoon. We record on Wednesday, so it was earlier on Wednesday, and this happened earlier in the week. Go watch it. Go watch him talk about it. Go watch them give the commendation to the other Good Samaritan, who's not famous, but certainly deserves respect and accolades for this good deed that they performed. And more people should do this. More people should be willing to help in the moment. There are so many times that something bad happens and people say, well, I just thought someone else was going to do something. And that can't be the case. If you're really about it, if you're about being who you say you are, being a good person, etc., you got to be good even when no one's watching or when no one else is willing to help and step up and be good. So that is why Justin Herron is this week's recipient of the Ballers Bouquet. You should tweet at him, give him your own congratulations. He is a very nice young man. Seen him talk in the press conference I watched, which is weird to say because he's a young man compared to us. But yeah, you should thank him, congratulate him, and that's this week's Ballers Bouquet.
What's up, Playboy?
All right. That is it for episode 28 of the Fly Route podcast. As always, we want to say that we appreciate each and every single one of you all for listening, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Music, or whatever the fuck y'all people use. We appreciate all of y'all. We appreciate all of your time. And we are... You know that Bernie Sanders meme? I am once again asking you for.
Yes.
We are once again asking you for listener submitted subjects because we want to make this podcast a little bit more interactive with you all. We want to talk about the things that our listeners are interested in. Can't stress that enough.
But more importantly, we are once again asking you to hit that subscribe button and notification bell if you're watching this video on YouTube. We'll see you next Friday.
The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod.
We want to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to listen to this video. Did you know that this video is part of a larger Fly Route podcast? Look us up wherever you watch podcasts. We are on Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere. Take the time, subscribe. We appreciate you.
While we have you here, don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit the notification bell. Otherwise, you will miss some of our YouTube videos. That's just the way YouTube works. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the Fly Route Pod.